I just want to show why the way this operating system business screws everyone. And this is Rhythmbox, which is a music player. It just takes a file, it looks at a music directory and lists all the files in it, like that. And I got 2 albums, Helen Vogel Singers and London Grammar, and I can play the music somehow if I press the right button. But look, this thing doesn't expect HTML, but it's printing tagged text. So Rhythmbox thinks that the notifications will do the right thing with the tags, but they don't. And you may not think this is the same problem, but the volume on the music is higher than the volume on the YouTube embedded videos. So if I try to listen, I want to listen to Angela. I can hardly hear her. So the problem is that the Rhythmbox people haven't got a volume. They haven't sought to lower their volume, and as far as I know, this system doesn't have a mixer, does it? I can't find a button that will change the volume. It doesn't know about it. And have I got a mixer here? I've got to go to settings. AI probably can help for maybe 90% of the work, but in terms of real-time interaction today, you and I are talking online. So I can send my digital version. You can send your digital version. This isn't kind of desktop. Is it the desktop that I should be looking in? Or 5 to 6 years from now, sound, speakers, output volume, balance. So that's output device, input device, alert, input volume. It's only got one input channel. No, that's input to the system from peripherals. It's just one channel, there's no mixer. And there's only speakers are the only output. And there's only one input. The tech world is just hoisted up by journalists who don't ask second questions. Like, people just let really rich people with companies say stupid shit without like. So it doesn't work. And all of these apps are in this so-called ecosystem, which is not an ecosystem, it's a marketplace. And what you need is channels and processes and links, and you need languages going down channels, and you need to be able to plug in interpreters into those channels.
And that's how you do video mixing and all this stuff. Sorry, Helen, I can't even fade you down. I just got to pause, and I hate doing that. So I wrote a blog post 10 years ago. Let's try and find it. Live Logic blogspot.com, and I go down begging for help again. I always get that. I ought to take that down, but I don't have access to this account, so I can't. I don't want any more help, people. I want you to concentrate on your stuff now. For God's sake, that was for Cochabamba. That wasn't global. So it's not October. That was when things went pear-shaped. It's what's the user interface supposed to do? And it's about programming in phase space. Here it is. What is a user interface supposed to do? This is related to the post that I did, what is an operating system for? Let us assume, initially at least, that the only thing a computer can do properly is deconstruct one recursive data structure, including any iterative data structures such as lists and arrays, whilst constructing another. What is the user interface of a general purpose computer going to look like then? As we use the machine, we necessarily interact with it, which means that we adjust the machine state according to our intentions. We are typically choosing from lists of available options in a given input state. In other words, through our conscious intentions, we are choosing or determining the actual state transitions from amongst the possible state transitions. So the user interface must allow us to know what is the machine state and to alter it according to our wishes. The machine state has three parts: the structure being deconstructed, which is the input, the program that is doing the deconstruction, which is the control, and the structure it is constructing in the process, which is the output. Therefore, the requirements of a user interface are that we need to see, or at least be aware of, what are the possible state transitions at any given instant. Then we need to be able to choose a new state from amongst those possible, and we need to see, or at least be aware of, the subsequent actual state, because this will be the start of the next interaction with the machine. This is the principle of a feedback loop, and it's fundamental to any cybernetic system. And it goes on. Of course, it is not only the user who is interacting with the machine. The environment does too, through various connections such as internal thermal sensors. When the ambient temperature changes, rapid changes in air pressure interact with it via a microphone, and visible electromagnetic radiation interacts with it via a camera. Other machines interact with it too. For example, a phone interacts with it via short-range radio connections such as Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Another computer interacts with it via network connection, and a satellite interacts with it via GPS receiver connected to a USB interface. These interactions are all composed of synchronous events, so-called because they're represented simultaneously on both sides of the interface. There are also asynchronous events, when the machine state changes spontaneously, marking the passage of internal time according to some cyclical frequency standard. In these cases, the new actual state is one from which the transition to the subsequent state in the cycle is possible, from which a transition to the subsequent state. Asynchronous events are not interactions, they are just actions. There are other types of asynchronous events, such as the generation of hardware random numbers, which is done by counting the number of synchronous events that occur between consecutive events in an asynchronous cycle. The phase space of a system is the set of all its possible internal states, and the system state at any moment is one single point in that space. Now, in order to use a machine, we need to determine what it is supposed to be doing. So we need to be able to interpret the information we have representing the internal state. The active interpretation of that information is what we call the meaning or significance of the computation or communication. The term significance shares a common root with words like sign, and in an automatic system, it is the significance of the state combined with our intentions which determine the subsequent state. This whole process of interpreting information and intentionally determining the subsequent state transitions is called operational semantics. I don't know if I can read it all. The amount of information we need to interpret to determine the meaning of a single point in the system phase space is effectively infinite, because that state includes not only the internal state of the machine's memory and storage, but also the state of the environment in which the system interacts. This interaction could be via waste heat and temperature sensors, via network interfaces, via stray electromagnetic emissions and transmitters, radio transmitters and receivers, by loudspeakers and microphones, or by the video displays, cameras, etc., etc. Therefore, to do useful work with a computer, we need to partition the phase space into finitely many classes, such that any of the system states within any one class have the same significance. But how we choose to make these partitions depends crucially on our intentions, i.e. what we are expecting the system to do. In yet other words, it depends on what the system is supposed to do. One way to make such a partition is to conceptually divide the whole into subsystems. A subsystem is a projection of the phase space of the whole system onto a lower dimensional space. Then we can choose to make a measurement of the state of a subsystem by determining a point of this lower dimensional space. Each single point of the subspace then corresponds to a region, a multidimensional volume consisting in many points of the phase space of the whole system. Oh my God. Some subsystems, I'm not a very good lecturer, am I? Some subsystem divisions are called orthogonal because they affect the partition of the phase space of the whole system. And so I'm looking at this, I'm only a third of the way through. But you get it. I think it's okay. It's okay. I thought I was trying to make something clear. I was trying to get people to take me seriously and help me, people at Cambridge. So I was thinking of that I would write something that Marcus Kuhn would understand, and that Peter Sewell would understand, and that Larry Paulson would understand, and that some random quantum physicist would understand, and that we'd do some shit, but that was April 2014. And at that point, my parents, who had been funding me up to that point, cut off my research funding. And I thought that the people at Cambridge would read that and say, look, no, the guy's doing good stuff. Look, is there some way we can, help and sort something out so that he can, find a permanent accommodation in Bolivia and carry on working, because it's good stuff. But there was some sovereignty issues going on, weren't there? You tell me what they are. I don't know. I don't know. I'm seriously thinking of going to the police and trying to get them to open a murder investigation at the University of Cambridge. Probably more than just the Department of Computer and Information Sciences, somewhere else as well. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Well, I have. There's some, there's the big secret, and we've got to leak it out slowly so that everyone in the world gets hold of it. But and so that only the right people get to know, the right way to do things. We do. But you're all. I reckon you are mixed up in a very low level thing about getting money from students to learn crap. And you can't even manage the paperwork to do that. You're getting so many foreign students applying for postgraduate, graduate courses and things like this that you can barely deal with it. And you're trying to examine them and test them and choose which ones to send. And because you all want the money, don't you? You want the lovely money because you're a business now. You're not a charity. You turned yourself into a business. And then the Senate passed some motion, and that's what it was. And anybody who works for the University of Cambridge, all of their ideas are owned by this business now. And you think I'm going to go and work for the University of Cambridge? Come and tell me why I should work for the University of Cambridge. Come on, somebody come and fucking tell me.